All right, Genesis chapter 6. Wickedness in the world. Oh, baby! When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful. They married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim, baby, the Nephilim, were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of gods went to the daughters of humans and had children by then. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. So the Nephilim, actually, super interesting context on the Nephilim. There are multiple interpretations. Some people interpret them as demons or stuff like, or giants. So or fallen angels. So Nephilim in Hebrew literally means the fallen. So they are fallen angels that when they have fallen to earth, they took the form of giant men. That essentially is the very super brief abridged Nephilim lore. The law saw how great wickedness of the human race had become on earth. They had every inclination of the thought of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on this earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So this is obviously a euphemism. The concept of regret for God is a fascinating topic altogether. To say that God just regretted it is definitely a not to be taken super literally. Anyway, the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that have moved along the ground. But for I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So this is awesome. Obviously, regret is a euphemism. All right. Obviously, regret is some sort of euphemism. However, it's almost like this is all part of the plan. All part of the plan. Sometimes the right thing is the hard thing. And that would even be destroying your children. Obviously, metaphorically speaking. Noah and the flood. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. So this is actually really interesting. It's not a direct translation from the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, it says the word Noah in this one verse 3 times. It says this is the account of Noah and his family. Then Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of the time, and Noah walked with God. This is interesting because why would it mention Noah 3 times in one verse? That is a lot of mentioning the same guy in the same verse. So obviously there are many interpretations of this, but it goes to show the two aspects to every person's life. The physical aspect and how you must do good to the people around you. This is the account of Noah and his family. And then you have to do good to God. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. And finally, when a push comes to shove, Noah walked faithfully with God. That's ultimately what you have to do. But also, super interestingly, and again, it fits better in the Hebrew, I think. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. That's kind of a very backhanded compliment. There are 2 interpretations here, which I think are both very interesting. So, on the one hand, blameless among the people of his time implies that, in the grand scheme of things, he's not necessarily a great guy. It's just the people of his time were so awful, he was blameless among the people of his time. That's one interpretation. The second interpretation is, even though he was in a time where the people were so bad, he was blameless, which is an even greater feat than anything else. And I think both interpretations absolutely have truth to it. Absolutely. I think both of these interpretations have truth to it. On the one hand, if you are good among bad people, that's unbelievably impressive. But simultaneously, if you're among better people, it'll make you a better person. Anyway, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Japheth. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. Now the earth was corrupt and God's sight was full of violence. Yeah. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on the earth corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence. Because of them, I am sure to destroy both them and the earth. So you probably will find it very interesting what the Hebrew translation is for the earth is filled with violence. You know what the violence is in Hebrew? It's going to shake you to your core when you hear what the Hebrew word for violence is that's used here. Are you ready? Are you ready? Lock in, boys and girls. Hamas. If that is not insane, I don't know what is. Anyway, So make for yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. For this is how you build it. The ark will be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening of a cubit, high all around. So that's basically like a skylight. Put a door on the side of the ark, make it lower, the upper middle decks. I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has breath of life in it, everything on this earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons, and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring onto the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will be kept alive. I love this story, man. It's unbelievable. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. What an awesome chapter. What an awesome chapter. Realistically, God could do anything, right? This is like the coolest part. God could do everything. So why does God need to get this old guy to build a boat for years? As we're going to see in the next chapter, it took him years, like 150 years or something. All right. So it took him years. Like building a boat forever in public, just sitting there building a boat on dry land. All right, dude, sitting there on dry land, building a boat, hundreds of years, gathering the animals, gathering the food. Like, this is an unbelievable amount of work. Like, God could have figured something out, right? But no, it's about what we do with our life, and it's about how we serve God. That is what it's all about. That's the reality. Anyway, so that was chapter 6. Great chapter. Awesome chapter. See you in the next one. Alrighty, Genesis chapter 7. The Lord then said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation." Notice how he does it again, just like in chapter 6. He's like, I found you righteous in this generation. Meaning, like, compared to the other guys, you're good. Or the generation is so terrible, the generation is so awful, that it's even more impressive that you're righteous. Dual interpretations. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, the kosher ones, some would even call it, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, the not kosher animals, some would call them, a male and its mate. I'm pretty sure that's the Hebrew. And also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now, I will send rain on this earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. I actually love the flood chapter, man. You know, like, we as humans, we polluted the earth. Like, so here's a really interesting thought experiment. Why were the animals punished? Like, if you think about it, why were the animals punished? Like, dude, men sin. All right, so men were wiped out. But why would the animals need to get wiped out for this flood also? And honestly, I think one very, very possible interpretation is that when humanity gets corrupted, we aren't just corrupt on an individual level, we become a miasma of corruption. That people and creatures around us by osmosis get corrupted as well. It's almost like because humans were corrupted, the animals became corrupted as well. Anywho, and Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters came on the earth. Oh my God. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark as God commanded Noah. And after the 7 days, the floodwaters came on the earth. Dude, I remember, like, dude, this is the ultimate, like, story to tell your kids, man. You know, you just have this giant boat, to a pair of each animal shows up, dude. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of that month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and the rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Alrighty, and that's what it up. The floodgates have opened. On that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They all had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. Pairs of all creatures that have breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and the waters increased as they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on its surface of the water. So just to understand the timeline, so in chapter 6, Noah was 450 years old. Noah was 450 years old when he started building the ark, and the flood started when he was 600 years old, which means he was building the ark for 150 years. And well, obviously it needs to be a pretty epic ark to survive this flood, and also to, house all the animals. So this is so dope for so many reasons. There's an obvious question here. Why didn't God just poof zap give him a boat? Why did he have to work for 150 years on this boat, this giant boat on dry land? Think about it. Just imagine the picture. I love this story, man. Imagine the picture in your head. All right, you have this guy. He's 450 years old. He's considered a pretty wise fellow, and here he is for 150 years building a giant boat on dry land. Literally on dry land. How is he ever going to get that to the sea? Imagine all the people around him, all the corrupt people that are going to end up getting wiped out by the flood. All of them are going to be looking at him. Every single one of them. They're going to look at this guy building a boat for 150 years. They're laughing at him. They're going to make fun of him. They're going to jeer at him. And he said, God told me to do this because he's going to bring a flood. And you have to understand the insanity. The insanity is not a single man repented. Not a single man saw Noah building a boat for 150 years and realize, wait a second, God's going to bring a flood and I need to repent. And I think that's the major purpose for why it took him 150 years. It was to give every single onlooker the opportunity to repent, that God commanded him to do it and that he's doing it, and they refused. But no, of course, they're going to laugh and mock this random old guy building a boat for 150 years. And he said, God commanded us. God commanded me to do it. There's going to be a flood. And none of them cared. They rose gently on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The water rose and covered the mountains to the depth of more than 15 cubits. Pretty sure a cubit is like a foot and a half. Every living thing that moved on land perished. Birds, livestock, wild animals, all creatures that swarmed all over the earth and all of mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. People and animals and the creatures that move along the ground and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. I love this story. I do. I love the story of Noah. I think it's one of the most it's one of the most epic stories in the Bible. It really is. It's awesome. And you know what? That one seemingly crazy guy that built a boat for 150 years, he carried on the rest of humanity. The rest of humanity survived with him. All the animals that joined his boat, those guys also survived. And they also gave birth to future generations. Now, there are a lot of theories regarding this. Maybe the reason why dinosaurs didn't go on the boat or something, and then they were in this magic water for 150 days, and that's why the bones are old. There are all sorts of theories that people talked about for generations. But this flood is such an amazing concept. The entire world completely covered. The Great Reset happens because man and animal were corrupted. The fish survived. Yeah, right, the fish survived. That's good. I don't know. I think that's just an awesome story. In fact, as we will see later in the Bible, there's one man that's, just spoiler alert, epic foreshadowing, there's a man that's called the Refugee. He shows up in a couple of chapters. The Refugee. So the way it's discussed traditionally is that is Og. He was one of the Nephilim. He was a giant, and apparently he survived by hanging onto the bottom of the raft. That's the lore. That's just tradition. That's not actually written in the Bible. And that's why he's seemingly called the Refugee. Anyway, moving on. What about the blacks and the whites and the Asians? Oh, I got you. Noah had 3 sons. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Shem was the Semites. He was the Jews and the Arabs. The Middle Eastern people came from him. The whites came from Japheth. Japheth was the forefather of Greek and Roman civilization. And Ham was the Africans. So There we go. One chapter of Bible, and to get into the right headspace. Alrighty. Genesis 8. But God remembered Noah and all of the wild animals and the livestock that were there with him in the ark, and he sent a wind over earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens have been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the water had gone down. So he spends 150 years. 150 years. Building a giant boat, sits in the boat for 150 days where everyone else is obliterated. Oh my god. And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. We actually know where this mountain is. Pretty cool. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month. And on the first day of the 10th month, the top of the mountains became visible, which is crazy. It actually flooded the earth, man. Flooded the earth. Way above the tips of the mountains were flooded. After 40 days, Noah opened a window he had made in the ark. Right? This was epic foreshadowing from the previous chapter where God commanded him to make a skylight in the ark. So he opens the skylight and he sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the water dried up from the earth. Then he sent a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground. So the lore here is really interesting. It's really interesting because, he sent out a raven first, right? And the raven goes back and forth. There's no land, right? So back and forth and back and forth. It's not willing to go search or do anything. The raven was kind of an asshole, not gonna lie. Unlike the dove, which is why, as we will see in Leviticus, doves ended up becoming one of the major sacrifices for God. But the dove could find nowhere to perch because there was water all over the surface of the earth. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days and again sent out the dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. All right, so it was known that there is actually land. There is land, ladies and gentlemen. That's crazy. And it is really interesting that throughout all of history and throughout all of culture, ravens are depicted as assholes, and doves are depicted as like these glorious, wholesome birds. Even though pigeons are horrible, but still, that doesn't matter. I think that's pretty awesome. I think that's awesome. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again, but this time it did not return to him, presumably because it found land. By the first day of the first month, Noah's 601st year, he was 600 years old, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark, saw the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the 2nd month, the earth was completely dry. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds and the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number on it." And that's kind of the plan. That's what we got to do, man. So Noah came out together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives. All the animals and all the creatures that moved along the ground, all the birds, everything that moves on the land, came out of the ark, one after the other. All right, now this is more epic foreshadowing from the previous chapter. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, taking some of the clean animals and the clean birds, and sacrificed burnt offerings on it. Now you're probably wondering, wait a second, if he brought a pair of each animal to keep them alive, now he's sacrificing them on altars, bro? On altars? And this was epic foreshadowing from the previous chapter, where God specifically commanded Noah to bring seven animals of the clean animals and 2 of the unclean animals. So he had extras. It's pretty awesome. He had bonus animals to use as sacrifices. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood. And never again will I destroy all living creatures as I has done." And that is the commandment. That's the deal. He'll never do it again. Now, there is some bonus lore. I'm not sure if Christianity has a source for this, but this has been passed down through like Jew lore, is that God made a rainbow. at this moment, and that was kind of the signifier of this bond and this deal that God will not destroy the world again. So anyway, and so interestingly enough, in Judaism, there's a blessing that's made every time you see a rainbow. There's a blessing that's made. Blessed are you, Lord, that remembers the bond. And it's pretty awesome. And this covenant or bond, however you want to translate it, this covenant exists to this day whenever you see a rainbow. And it's like, oh, well, God wanted to destroy the world, but he's holding himself back. Thank you, God. It's pretty awesome. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. And he will never destroy the world. Anyway, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome indeed. Yeah, so... And that's what we got. Thank you so much for being here. That was chapter 8. I love chapter 8. Chapter 9 is going to be awesome also. It's going to be diabolical, actually. And we'll see that one in the next one. Bye. Genesis chapter 9. God's covenant with Noah. And then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth." Now, for the record, for those of you keeping track with the lore, in the previous chapter, everyone was obliterated except for Noah and his children. So therefore, when he says, "Be fruitful, increase your number, and fill the earth," he is talking to every single one of us. That's right. That's right. Bit of a philosophical disagreement between feminists and God. I personally take the side of God. The fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, all the birds in the sky, and every creature that moves along the ground, and on all fish in the sea. They are given in your hands. That's right, baby. Animals exist for us. That is correct, and that is why God made animals delicious. All right, everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. That's right. That is so right. Facts. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. W! You must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. So that is one of the 7 commandments to the children of Noah, actually. So there are 7 commandments that the children of Noah have. Even those that did not accept, the actual, Bible laws from God. And that is one of them. You cannot eat animals while they are still alive. The other ones are... You can't kill. You can't do sexual immoral acts. You have to create court systems that actually function. Sound right? You have to create court systems. There's you can't worship false gods. You can't blaspheme the Lord. I'm missing one. I always miss one. 7 commandments, children of Noah, that's right. No idolatry, no adultery, no eat from living animals, do not steal. All right, I forgot do not steal. Do not steal, keep God's good name, respect and praise him, do not murder, set up law system. Yeah, that's the 7, that's the 7. All right. And for your lifeblood, I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting for every animal, for each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being. That's right. Thou shalt not murder is a pretty basic tenet here. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans their blood should be shed, for in the image of God has God made mankind. One of the greatest verses in all of the Bible. In all the Bible, one of the greatest verses. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind. The inherent value of every single human being. All of them. And that's right. That's where we're at. This is actually the only commandment that's repeated in every single one of the 5 books of Moses. In the first 5 books of the Old Testament, this commandment is repeated in each of them, which is pretty awesome, honestly. It's absolutely incredible. Because, again, note how it equates the idea of capital punishment with, for the image of God, God has made mankind. A lot of people think that capital punishment is just, he's a murderer, so we need a punishment, and, it's super easy. We'll just remove him from the equation. But no, this is taken extremely seriously. Despite the fact that this murderer was made in the image of God, you still have to remove him. And that's incredible. It really is incredible. Goes to show the strength that it takes to do something like this. Anyway, it's pretty awesome stuff. And for you, be fruitful and increase in number, multiplying the earth and increase upon it. That's right, have lots of babies. Babies are awesome. Then God said to Noah and to his sons, I will now establish my covenant with you and your descendants after you. That is the rainbow. That is the rainbow, ladies and gentlemen. And for every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all the creatures that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth, I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. Pretty incredible. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring the clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all the living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever a rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. So God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant I've established between me and all life on the earth. And that's right. So God made a rainbow to represent the fact that men have sinned, and God kind of wants to obliterate us, but he's reminding us that he made a deal with us that he's not going to do that. And so isn't it ironic in the most honestly diabolical way that the pride flag, a flag that represents an ideology that spits in the face of God, is a rainbow? Is that not incredible? Is that not like absolutely incredible? I think that's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable that that they picked the rainbow. The sign that God wants to obliterate us, but he's holding himself back because he promised he wouldn't do it. Is that not unbelievable? Like, it's like wow. It's like wow. Oh my God. It's unreal. It's unreal. And that's why actually in Judaism there's a blessing that Jews make every time they say rainbow. That's right. A blessing that to remember the bond. Anyway, the sons of Noah. The sons of Noah came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. That's right. Ham was the father of Canaan. Interesting lore. Shem in Hebrew that's his Hebrew name, Shem. He is the father of the Shemites, or the Semites as they are called now, meaning ancestors of Jews. Lots of Christendom as well. Also Arabs. That's all from Shem. Ham is the forefather of Africans, I believe. And Japheth is like Eastern, like European and Eastern cultures. Anyway, these are the three sons of Noah, and from them came the people who were scattered over the whole earth. Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. Yeah, so that's absolutely diabolical. Noah, first thing he did, all right, first thing Noah did, he leaves the ark after 150 days of flood. He walks out and he plants grapes to get drunk. No. Then he drank some of his wine. Imagine being named Ham. So in Hebrew, it's Cham, which literally means heat or hot. And he was like the forefathers of a lot of people that lived in like dark-skinned areas where it was really hot. Anyway, when he drank some of the wine, he became drunk, lay uncovered in his tent. This absolutely sends me every time I read it. It's insane. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across his shoulders. Then they walked in backward and covered their father's naked body. The respect they had for their dad, their faces were turned the other way so they would not see their father naked. When Noah awoke from his wine and found out what his youngest son had done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of the slaves will he be to his brothers." And again, we don't beef with prophets and people that commune with God and stuff directly. The reality is, if you look at and this is kind of crazy, but if you look at the history of the children of Canaan, they were slaves, actually, for like all of human history, which is incredible if you think about it for just a second. It's absolutely wild. So the curse worked. I'm not trying to be rude here, but the curse actually worked. He cursed the son because he covered. No, he cursed the youngest son, Ham and Canaan, that they saw his father naked and told his brothers outside. Now there's a lot of discussion going on as to why would he curse him so badly, right? Why would he curse him so badly for just seeing him naked? So the lore here is that perhaps they humiliated him in some way. Perhaps they went out and did something horribly immoral to him, and that's why he was super mad. But anyway, he also said, "Praise be the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem." And, well, if you look historically, that's actually what happened, which is wild, absolutely wild. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth lives in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth. After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. Noah lived a total of 950 years, and then he died. What a wild chapter, man. What an absolutely wild chapter. So anyway, there's obviously a lot to talk about in like every single one of these chapters, but we're not doing this forever. But ultimately, this was awesome. This really is. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind. Both of the unbelievable value of human life and the stringency when human life needs to be taken, all in one little verse. It's awesome. It really is. And this is where we got the commandments for the children of Noah. And honestly, I think any person that actually follows these 7 commandments for the children of Noah, in my opinion, is a moral, righteous man. And I think so. That's my bar. It really is. Don't blaspheme the Lord. Don't kill. Don't steal. No sexual immoral acts. Have a legal system. Do not eat living animals. And of course, I am missing one again. I'm always missing one of them. Do not worship false gods. That was the other one. Do not worship false gods. All right, so you follow those 7 commandments, and I think you are a righteous man. Just in general. So anyway, yeah, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. This was banger chapter. All right, this one's pretty, I guess, by comparison to the previous ones, this one is not as, let's say, impactful to most people. All right, the Table of Nations. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. You will notice Magog over here is it's one of the prophesied nations in the final battle in the end times. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Targomah. Right, Ashkenaz became like European areas. As an example, like a lot of people say Ashkenazi Jews, but that's not this Ashkenaz. The Ashkenazi Jews are the Jews that ended up after being exiled from Israel in the territory of this Ashkenaz. Son of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, the Ketites, and the Rodanites. Pretty awesome. From these, the maritime people spread out their territories from clans within their nations, each within their language. The sons of Ham: Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. Yep, it's Africans. The sons of Cush: Seba, Havila, Sabta, Rama, Sabteka. The sons of Rama: Sheba and Dedan. Cush was the father of Nimrod. Oh, epic Nimrod lore coming very soon. Foreshadowing who became a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first centers of his kingdom were Babylon, Uruk, Akkad, and Kalna, not to be confused with the Urukai, which is a different group of people. In Shinar, from the land he went to Assyria, where he built Nivana, Rehoboth, Kala, and Rezin, which is between Nivana and Kala, which is a great city. Egypt was the father of the Luddites, Anamites, Lehabites, Naphtuhites, Pathrusites, Kashulhites, from whom the Philistines came, and the Caphtorites. Canaan was the father of Sidon, and the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivitites, Arkanites, Sinites, and Arvatites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Pretty awesome. And those guys were obliterated. Epic foreshadowing again. Later, the Canaanites' clans scattered, and the borders of Canaan reached from Sidon to Gerar as far as Gaza. For the record, this is modern-day Gaza, in case you are unaware. That is actually modern-day Gaza. Nimrod has negative connotations. Yeah, or we're gonna get to Nimrod. He's in the next chapter, I think. So yeah. Anyway, this is modern day Gaza, and towards Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah. So more epic foreshadowing. All these guys get obliterated. All of the Canaanites, basically. Anyway, Admah and Zeboim as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham and their clans and languages and territories and nations. The Semites, the sons also were born to Shem, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of the sons of Aber. The sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Meshech. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah. Shelah was the father of Eber. Two sons born to Eber. One was called Peleg, because in his name the earth was divided. His brother was named Joktan. Again, this is interpreted by some people. Again, I don't know if this is, I don't know what this, not exactly certain 100% as to the source of this, but a lot of people say that this is, after the flood is when Pangea divided into separate continents. And this Peleg guy, in his name the earth was divided, implies that after that, the different continents were spread apart. Anyway, Joktan was the father of Almodad, Selef, Hazamareth, Jerah, Haradam, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abiel, Shema, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab, and they were the sons of Joktan. The region where they lived stretched from Mesha towards Safar in the eastern hill territory. These are the sons of Shem, their clans and languages, territories, and nations. These are the clans of Noah's sons, according to the lines of descent within their nations, from these nations spread out over the earth after the flood. Yeah, and that's basically this chapter. I'm pretty sure in the next chapter we get some Nimrod stories, we get some Abraham, Tower of Babel. Oh, that's a great chapter. And we'll do that one next time. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, man.